If caffeine were a religion, I'd be a devoted worshiper. It was a Tuesday, the kind of Tuesday that feels like it's lasted 3 years. And I was clutching my third cup of coffee like it held the meaning of life. My only goal for the day? Survive work without accidentally making eye contact with my boss, Silas Hale, for more than 2 seconds. Silas, a man who looked like he'd been sculpted from cold marble and tax deductions, was terrifyingly perfect. Crisp suits, sharp jawline, the kind of blue eyes that could probably freeze water. Meanwhile, I was the intern who once sent a client a meme instead of a meeting link. So, we were different species. Anyway, I was walking through the lobby, half asleep, half praying I wouldn't trip over my own legs, when I saw him. Silas. Standing by the reception desk, looking pale. Like, about to faint pale. At first, I thought I was imagining it, because my boss. He doesn't faint. He doesn't even blink unless it's on schedule. But then his eyes fluttered, his hand wobbled, and suddenly he was tilting. Pure reflex. I dropped my coffee, RIP vanilla latte gone too soon, and lunged forward. 1 second, I was standing. The next, I had a whole 6-foot-something CEO collapsing into my arms. And that's when the universe decided to spice things up. Silas! A sharp, elegant voice cut through the lobby. I turned, and there she was. A woman who looked like she could buy the building just for fun. Perfect hair, designer coat, diamonds that probably had their own zip code. And the way she was staring at us, at me, with her son practically draped over my arm, made my stomach drop. "Oh," she gasped, eyes wide and sparkling. "So this is the man you've been keeping secret." I blinked. Wait, what? Before I could even move, Silas straightened, still leaning slightly against me, and, I swear to God, he smiled. A small, polite, complicit smile. "Mother," he said smoothly, voice steady like nothing insane was happening. "I was going to introduce you later." Later? Introduce her to me. My brain short-circuited. I opened my mouth, ready to explain that no, I was not his secret anything, but his mother was already clasping her hands together like it was Christmas morning. "Oh, darling, he's adorable," she said, giving me the warmest look I've ever gotten from someone wearing pearls. "I knew there had to be a reason you've been smiling more lately." Smiling? He smiles? Silas just nodded, cool as ever. And me? I stood there holding his arm, smelling like spilled coffee and pure panic, thinking, "Congratulations, Jeremy. You're officially the accidental boyfriend." A while later. If confusion were a sport, I'd be an Olympic champion. 1 minute, I was catching my boss from fainting like some low-budget rom-com hero. Next, I was being called adorable by his diamond-wearing mother. And now I was sitting in the back seat of his stupidly expensive car, still damp from spilled coffee, while he scrolled through his phone like none of this was insane. I cleared my throat. "So, about what just happened?" "Which part?" he asked, not looking up. "The fainting or the part where my mother thinks you're my boyfriend?" I gawked at him. "That? The second one. Why didn't you correct her?" He finally looked up, calm as ever, like we weren't living in emotional chaos. "She's been worried about me lately." I didn't want to stress her heart. I blinked. "You didn't want to stress her heart? So you just invented a boyfriend?" "Not invented," he said mildly, eyes back on his phone. "You were right there." "Oh, great. Love that. I'm a prop now." He almost smiled. Almost. "You're surprisingly good at it." I wanted to throw myself out of the car. You can't just, your mom thinks we're dating." "She'll calm down," he said, as if this was all totally normal. "We just need to keep the illusion up for a little while." My jaw dropped. The illusion? What, until she forgets? Until she dies? What's the timeline here? He didn't answer, which was not comforting. Then his phone buzzed. He read the message, sighed, and handed it to me. On the screen was a text from Mother Hale. "Can't wait for dinner this weekend. I want to get to know Jeremy properly." I froze. "Dinner?" I croaked. "This weekend?" He nodded. "She insists. Saturday at 7. Silas." "Yes? I don't even know your middle name." "You'll learn it before dessert." I groaned, dragging my hands down my face. This is a nightmare. A fancy 5-course nightmare. He gave me one of those tiny, satisfied smirks that made me want to both punch him and kiss him. "Relax. It's only one evening." "Right," I muttered, sinking into the seat. One dinner where your mom thinks I'm your boyfriend. And your brother probably grills me about our imaginary anniversary. Totally fine. No pressure." He glanced at me, voice softer now. "You'll do fine." And then, like the universe wasn't cruel enough, he added, "Wear something nice." Saturday. I've had bad ideas before. Trying blonde highlights, downloading a dating app at 2 a.m., eating gas station sushi, but agreeing to attend a family dinner as my boss's fake boyfriend officially topped the list. I stood outside the Hale family estate. Yes, estate. The kind with fountains and marble lions. Clutching a bottle of wine I couldn't afford. Wearing my one decent blazer. My palms were sweating so badly that I was scared I'd drop it before even stepping inside. Silas, of course, looked like he'd stepped out of a catalog. Dark suit, calm expression, not a single hair out of place. Meanwhile, I looked like a nervous intern pretending to belong in a place where even the air smelled expensive. He glanced at me. "Relax." "Relax?" I hissed. "Your mom thinks I'm your boyfriend." "Yes, and I barely know you. I don't even know if you prefer cats or dogs." "Dogs?" he said smoothly, opening the door. "Now you do." Before I could respond, the housekeeper led us into the dining room. And oh my God, it was like stepping into a magazine. Crystal glasses, silverware that probably had its own insurance policy. A massive chandelier that could have lit a small country. And then she appeared. Mrs. Hale. Elegant, smiling, clearly thrilled. "Jeremy," she beamed, sweeping me into a hug that smelled like luxury perfume and mild judgment. "It's so lovely to finally meet the man who's made my son so happy." "Ha! Ha! Yep, that's me," I managed, trying not to die. Her eyes softened. "You're just as charming as Silas said." I turned to look at him, stunned. "What the hell have you been saying about me, Frostbite?" He only smirked faintly and gestured to the table. And then came the brother. Nathan Hale. Younger, effortlessly good-looking, and sporting that same teasing glint in his blue eyes. The moment I sat down, he leaned forward, a grin spreading. "So Jeremy, huh? The mystery boyfriend has finally been revealed. You must be special. My brother doesn't even share his Wi-Fi password?" I laughed weakly. Yeah, he's full of surprises." Mrs. Hale clapped her hands together. "Tell me everything. How did you two meet?" My brain completely blanked. How did we meet? Technically, I spilled coffee on him once, then nearly cried when he glared at me. Not exactly Hallmark material. I opened my mouth, ready to improvise something, but Silas beat me to it. "We met at a cafe," he said smoothly. "Jeremy was making latte art." I blinked. What?" He went on, voice steady. "He made this terrible foam heart that somehow ended up looking like a cat. I told him it was awful. He said I was rude. The rest is history." Mrs. Hale melted. "Oh, that's adorable." "Adorable," Nathan repeated, smirking at me. "Sounds about right." I forced a laugh. "Ha ha ha, yeah, latte art. My passion. For the record, I can't even pour milk without it looking like a crime scene." Dinner began, and I swear the interrogation never stopped. Mrs. Hale asked what I liked about her son. Nathan asked who said "I love you" first. Silas's father, stoic and unreadable, kept observing me like I was a new stock acquisition. Meanwhile, Silas sat beside me, calm and collected, occasionally helping by resting his hand on mine under the table. For realism, he claimed. Except every time his thumb brushed my skin, my brain short-circuited. At one point, Mrs. Hale asked, "So Silas, what made you fall for Jeremy?" He paused, glancing at me. And for a split second, one dangerous second, he actually smiled. A soft one. "He's genuine," he said quietly. "And he makes me laugh." My heart skipped a beat. Totally acting, right? Definitely part of the cover story. I tried to swallow my soup to hide the chaos in my chest. And of course, immediately choked. "Jeremy," Mrs. Hale gasped. I coughed, waved frantically. "Fine, totally fine." Just emotionally overwhelmed by his beautiful words, Nathan snorted. Silas handed me a napkin, eyes sparkling with amusement. "Smooth." "Shut up," I whispered back. By dessert, I was sweating through my shirt. Mrs. Hale was already planning our next dinner. And Nathan had winked at me at least 10 times. When we finally escaped to the car, I slumped into the seat, groaning. I can't believe I didn't drown in soup. Silas smirked. "You were convincing." "Convincing?" I almost died. He turned the engine on, glancing at me from the corner of his eye. "You didn't. Which means we're ready for the next event." "The what now?" "My mother's charity gala next week," he said calmly. "Couples are expected." I stared at him, horrified. "Oh no." No, I'm not doing." He smirked. "You already are." And as we drove off into the night, my brain had only one thought. I should have just let him faint. The next day. There are certain sounds that make you instantly panic. Your phone buzzing during a meeting, someone saying, "We need to talk," and apparently the entire marketing department whispering your name the moment you step into the office. By 9:30, everyone knew. I didn't even make it to my desk before Sophie from accounting grinned at me and said, "So, when were you going to tell us you're dating the boss?" I blinked. "What? Who? Where did you?" "Please," she said, smirking. "Your picture's all over the company chat." Mrs. Hale tagged the firm in her lovely family dinner post. "You look adorable, by the way." "Adorable?" "Fantastic." I was about 2 seconds away from digging a hole under my desk and living there forever. By 10, HR had sent an official email with the subject line. Reminder: maintaining professional boundaries in workplace relationships. I didn't even open it. The passive-aggressive emoji was enough. By 11, someone had added a little heart with a kiss next to my name on the office Slack channel. By noon, I'd been called boss's sweetheart 3 times. Offered dating advice twice. And once asked if I got special coffee privileges now. And through it all, Silas, completely unfazed. He strolled through the office like a man who hadn't just set my life on fire, greeting people with that calm, cool tone of his. Then he stopped by my desk, holding 2 coffees. "Morning," he said. Everyone looked up. "Morning," I croaked. He set 1 cup down in front of me. "Oat milk, 2 sugars." "The way you like it." I stared at the cup, then at him. "How do you even know that?" He smiled. An actual smile. "I pay attention." The office collectively stopped breathing. Someone behind me audibly whispered, "Oh my God." I wanted to disappear. When he walked away, I took a sip just to have something to do with my hands. It was perfect. Of course it was. By the time we got into the elevator together that afternoon, I was ready to die from sheer secondhand embarrassment. But then the doors closed, and suddenly it was just us. He stood too close. Not in a creepy way, just in that I could feel the warmth of his shoulder through my sleeve. The air felt thinner. I could hear his slow, even breathing while my pulse went rogue. He looked down at me, lips quirking slightly. "You seem nervous." "Nervous? Me? No, I gestured vaguely toward the elevator buttons. "It's, crowded. It's just us." "Exactly," I muttered. "So, very crowded." His gaze softened, and for a second I swore he was fighting a smile. Then the elevator dinged, and he leaned close. So close that his breath brushed my ear. "You handled my family dinner well," he murmured. I was impressed. I froze. "Oh. Thanks. I try not to choke twice on soup." His chuckle was low, quiet, and warm. "I'll make sure the next meal's less dangerous." Then he stepped out, leaving me alone in the elevator, knees slightly weak and brain completely fried. By the time I made it back to my desk, Sophie was waiting, eyebrows raised. "You okay there, sweetheart?" I glared at her, sipping my now lukewarm coffee. Totally fine. Definitely not spiraling. But when I caught sight of Silas through the glass wall of his office, sleeves rolled up, faint smile still lingering, I realized something terrifying. I wasn't sure if he was acting anymore. And worse, I wasn't sure if I wanted him to be. A few days later, somewhere between the HR email and the third Haxuriao, added next to my name in the group chat, Silas and I decided to set an end date for our fake relationship, his mom's birthday party. After that, we'd fake break up, go back to normal, and pretend none of this ever happened. Clean. Simple. Emotionally unattached. Except, nothing about this situation was clean or simple, especially not when he started texting me at midnight. It started innocently enough. I was half asleep, scrolling through memes when my phone buzzed. "Silas, we should practice taking a couple of photos." I stared at the screen, blinking. Me. "It's midnight." Silas. "The gala photos were stiff. My mother noticed." Me. Silas. "Of course she did. She's like a bloodhound for awkward energy." Exactly. "We need to look natural." Me. "Define natural." Silas. "Like this." He sent a photo. It was a selfie. Him in bed, hair slightly messy, shirt undone at the collar, a faint half smile on his face. Casual, relaxed, infuriatingly attractive. I forgot how to breathe for a solid 3 seconds. Me. "That's cheating. You can't look like a magazine ad at midnight." Silas. "You're avoiding the assignment." Me. "Because the assignment is illegal." Silas. "Jeremy. Just my name. One word, and somehow it made my stomach flip. So I did it. I took a quick selfie. Messy hair, oversized t-shirt, the soft glow of my laptop lighting half my face. I looked human. Barely. Me. "There. Done." Silas. "You look good." I stared at that message for a full minute, waiting for the "for realism" or "for practice" to follow. It didn't. Me. "You're supposed to say 'for the act,' remember?" Silas. "I didn't mean it for the act." I had to physically set my phone down and take a lap around my apartment because what was I supposed to do with that? When I finally picked it back up, he'd sent another text. Silas. "We'll say goodnight like a real couple. Keeps the illusion strong." Me. "Right, for the illusion." Silas. "Good night, Jeremy." I stared at that little heart for way too long before typing back. Me. "Night, boss." And just like that, we'd crossed a line. Not a big one. Just a small, soft, heart-shaped one that pulsed on my phone screen long after I turned off the lights. I told myself it didn't mean anything, that it was all pretend. But as I lay there, smiling like an idiot, waiting to see if he'd text again, I wasn't sure who I was trying to convince anymore. 3 days later, if there's one thing I've learned from fake dating my boss, it's that rich people throw events that feel like movie sets. Mrs. Hale's birthday wasn't a party, it was a production. There was a string quartet in the garden. Waiters floated around with champagne. The lawn literally sparkled. How does grass sparkle? I still don't know. Silas and I arrived arm in arm, and every step I took screamed, "Don't trip, don't trip, don't trip." He, of course, looked infuriatingly calm. Tux perfectly fitted, smile just polite enough to hide how much he hated being the center of attention. "Relax," he murmured, low enough that only I could hear. "Stop saying that," I hissed back. "That's what people say right before everything goes wrong." He smiled, just barely. "You worry too much." Foreshadowing. I should have known. Dinner went smoothly at first. Laughter, polite conversation, the occasional under-the-table brush of Silas's hand that made my brain short-circuit. I started to think, hey, maybe we'll get through this one without disaster. Then Mrs. Hale stood up and tapped her glass. "I have a little surprise," she announced. "A gift for my son, and for his wonderful boyfriend." My fork froze halfway to my mouth. His what now? The lights dimmed, a screen lowered, and suddenly there it was. A PowerPoint titled, "Silas plus Jeremy, a love story." I wanted to die. The first slide was a photo of us at the charity gala looking alarmingly couple-like. Then another, me laughing, Silas glancing sideways at me with that soft, almost smile he pretends he doesn't have. Then came photos I didn't recognize. I handed him coffee at the office, me talking to a client while he looked at me in the background, me dozing off during a late meeting, his jacket draped over my shoulders. I leaned toward him, whisper hissing, "Where did these even come from?" His jaw tightened. "My phone." I stared at him. "You took these?" He didn't look away. Apparently. And in that moment, sitting there under fairy lights, surrounded by 50 people and a slideshow of us, the realization hit like a freight train. He'd been saving them. My chest did something weird and painful. I wanted to say something, anything, but before I could, the screen flickered, and a new voice cut through the applause. "Wow," someone drawled. "A slideshow already." Moving fast, Hale every head turned. There, standing by the cake table, was Ethan. Perfect hair, perfect suit, perfect smirk. The living embodiment of trouble. Silas's ex. "Ethan," Mrs. Hale said, pleasantly surprised. "Darling, you made it." "Oh, I wouldn't miss this," he said, eyes flicking between me and Silas, especially after hearing my replacement was so photogenic. The air went cold. I tried to shrink into my chair. He sauntered closer, smile sharp. "So tell me, Jeremy, how long have you two been together again?" I opened my mouth. Nothing came out. Ethan laughed softly. "Don't strain yourself. I'm sure you have the timeline rehearsed. That did it." Silas stood, tone quiet but dangerous. "Ethan." "Oh, relax," Ethan said. "I'm just curious how far this little act goes." He turned to the guests. "Because it is an act, isn't it?" A collective gasp. Someone dropped a fork. And me? My brain completely shut down. The world blurred. The whispers, the flash of phones, the look of shock on Mrs. Hale's face. All I could see was Silas, tense and silent beside me. He wasn't going to defend himself. He never did. Too composed, too careful. Something in me snapped. I stood up so fast my chair screeched. "It's not an act." Ethan blinked. "Excuse me?" My heart was racing. My mouth was moving faster than my brain. "It's not an act," I said louder. "Because I love him, okay? I love him." The room went dead silent. Even the violinist stopped mid-note. I could feel everyone's eyes on me. Mrs. Hale's shocked, Nathan's wide, Silas's unreadable. Ethan raised an eyebrow. "Oh, please." But then Silas moved. He stepped forward, reached out, and kissed me. Not the staged, polite peck we practiced. A real one. Warm, deep, completely wrecking every coherent thought I had. The crowd blurred. The noise vanished. It was just his hand on my cheek, his breath against my skin, the quiet tremor in his voice when he finally pulled back and whispered, "I love you too." I forgot how to breathe. Mrs. Hale's delighted laugh broke the silence. Well, that settles that. Nathan started clapping. Someone cheered. Ethan looked like he'd swallowed a lemon. Meanwhile, I was standing there, dizzy, tongue-tied, soup-choking intern-turned-boyfriend, realizing that somehow, impossibly, I wasn't pretending anymore. A few hours later, the birthday chaos had settled. Streamers were being packed away. Half-eaten cake was on trays, and the string quartet had migrated to the garden, playing soft, lingering notes that made everything feel unreal. I was leaning against the balcony railing, still catching my breath, when Silas appeared behind me. His presence alone made my heart stutter. Calm, steady, impossibly tall. He reached out, gently holding my wrist. "Hey," he said softly. "Can we talk?" I nodded, still dizzy from the confession and the kiss. Yeah, of course." He guided me to a quieter corner, away from the remaining guests. His hand didn't leave mine, grounding me in a way I hadn't realized I'd been craving all night. "Jeremy," he said, eyes serious but warm. "Thank you." "For?" I asked, voice small, unsure. "For saving everything. For standing up, saying what you felt. You made this real." I blinked, heart fluttering. I just couldn't keep pretending. He smiled, the kind of smile that makes the world tilt. Neither could I. I froze. "Wait, what?" "I didn't exactly lie," he murmured, stepping closer, heat radiating from him. "And I wasn't really acting either." My chest skipped a beat. You weren't pretending?" He reached out, brushing a strand of hair from my face, eyes soft and unrelenting. "Nope, not one bit. I couldn't help it." A grin spread across my face. Relief, joy, disbelief, and something else. Something that made my stomach flip. "Good," I whispered, pulling him closer, letting my hands settle on his chest. "Because neither did I." He chuckled, low and warm, and then kissed me. Not careful this time, not staged, real, soft, deep, and lingering. Like the world had shrunk to just the two of us. When we finally pulled back, I rested my forehead against his. "So, we're really together now?" He smiled, that infuriating, beautiful smile. "Yeah, really." And just like that, amidst the leftover streamers, cake crumbs, and soft violin music, we were us. No pretending, no scripts, no fake smiles. Just us, together. For the first time in weeks, I felt completely, utterly, and beautifully at home. A few months later. So, here's the thing about pretending to date your boss. Eventually, you either break up or fall in love. Turns out, I chose the second option. It's been 3 weeks since the birthday party incident, otherwise known as the night I accidentally confessed my love in front of 50 horrified and slightly entertained people. Since then, life's been weirdly wonderful. We're actually dating now. For real. No contracts, no until mom's party, no pretending for anyone's sake. Just us. Monday mornings look different now. Instead of dreading the sound of my alarm, I wake up to the smell of coffee and the low hum of Silas already working from the kitchen island. Sleeves rolled up, hair slightly mussed, glasses perched on his nose like some cruel, beautiful punishment for my heart. He glances up when he hears me shuffling in. "Morning, trouble." "Morning, Mr. Frostbite," I mumble, because some habits die hard. He smirks, the kind that still makes my stomach flip, and slides a mug toward me. My mug. It says, "World's Okayest Intern." He bought it. I pretend to be offended every time. At work, the chaos has mellowed into background noise. HR tried, they really did, but after their third reminder about professional conduct, and a particularly aggressive memo titled "Office Romances Please Don't," they just gave up. Now they mostly pretend we're invisible, and I return the favor. My coworkers have stopped whispering whenever we're in the same room. mostly because Silas threatened to restructure anyone who made. Another heart emoji joke in the group chat. No one's sure if he was kidding. Even the intern fridge prank stopped. Small victories. His mom now texts me more than him. She sends recipes, casseroles, soups, heart-healthy muffins for Silas because you love him too much to let him die of spreadsheets. I love her. She terrifies me. Both things can be true. Nathan, his brother, still winks at me every time we visit. Last weekend, he whispered, "Can't believe you actually tamed the Ice King." I whispered back, "Can't believe he's hotter than his LinkedIn photo." We both got death stares from Silas. Worth it. And then there's the latte art. It's become a thing now. This morning ritual where I try, and fail spectacularly, to make a heart with milk foam. Every single time it ends up looking like abstract modern art. Or a potato. Silas watches, leaning against the counter with his arms crossed, pretending not to be amused. "That's not bad," he says today, voice all gentle warmth. "It's almost a heart this time." "It's a blob," I grumble, glaring at the mug. "A foamy blob of failure." He laughs, that quiet low laugh that still feels like a reward, and steps behind me, guiding my hand as we pour together. "Like this," he murmurs, his breath brushing my neck. Slow, gentle. See? The milk swirls perfectly into a little heart. I blink at it. Did we just make a metaphor? He presses a kiss to my temple. Maybe. We're not pretending anymore. We're not faking smiles or brushing hands for show. He still works too hard, still color codes his calendar, still sighs when I forget deadlines. But now he also kisses me good morning before he checks his email, and wraps an arm around me when I inevitably fall asleep on his couch during Netflix. Sometimes I catch him watching me the way he used to in those secret photos. Except now he doesn't look away. So yeah, I still can't make latte art. But at least now I get to watch him smile every single time I try. The end confession time. Which part would have made you totally panic? The family dinner or the slideshow reveal? Thanks for watching. Subscribe to become part of our Rainbow Force. And consider joining our membership for early access and exclusive content. Stay wholesome.